I think oil rig worker is the most recent video I've seen.
Well, I watched a little film last night called Everest, I think. It's about a failed expedition to summit Mount Everest. Like, you've probably
was that the documentary, or was that the
Jake Gyllenhaal and like a ton of A-list actors
on
in
the
it.
Story,
like everybody's in it. Like it's the most recent Mount Everest movie with like every good actor in it.
It's like the based on a true story type thing, though.
Yes,
yeah.
At the end, they show you the real life people's pictures, and you're like, damn, that's good casting. Like, a lot of them look a lot like the actors. It's really impressive. But dude, I think I'd climb Mount Everest if I wanted to. Because and hear me out. Hear me out. The climbing Mount Everest seems to me to be vacationing to Nepal and then having your shit carried to the base camp and then hanging out there for like 6 or 8 weeks while you acclimate to like the altitude. And then you sort of go on a really tough hike for like a day up some steep shit that's covered in ropes and pegs and guides while some people carry your shit for you and you're on oxygen. It just seems like a tough hike that you need to be a millionaire to go on.
I don't know. The
guys going on it are not like super mountaineers. It is like a lot of rich guys just like doing it for the sake of doing it.
That's why the deaths are not impressive. It's not like the greatest mountaineers in the world. It's not like K2 like killed a bunch of people or something. It's fucking Bob the orthodontist who always dreamed of summiting. And in that movie I watched, sure enough, there's this weak fucking link. Taylor, he has bronchitis, clearly. You know that raspy cough where it's like there's like clearly liquidy gunk going on. He has that the day before. The day before they're gonna go to the summit. They're like,
you need
all right,
we're
going up tomorrow. And it's like his second trip. He'd already failed once before because weather came in. And this is a guy who works 3 jobs and has been given a discount. And the school that helped him raise money back home because he's a teacher, like, gave him this little flag to plant up there. So it's like, pull at your heartstrings, we got to get Doug up there. That was his name, Doug. By the way, Doug don't make it.
Was his name, yeah.
Does he make it up?
Oh, he makes it up. That's why everybody died. He was like, you can't not let me do this. And the guy was like, fuck, all right, let's try. And he like took so long getting him to the top and they died. They both died up there because of Doug. Doug, in the movie, I think, goes like crazy and he's like, oh, I'm so hot. I gotta get this shit off.
I gotta take off these clothes.
And then is like, while he's fumbling to take off his parka or whatever, slides off the mountain into the abyss that is, the side of Mount Everest. But
everybody walks down. I don't wonder why there aren't more skiers or paragliders or
I don't think it's conducive to that. And the air's thin. All right, so this is out of my wheelhouse. It's definitely into yours, but they're up there at like 4.5, 5 miles or whatever. If you jumped off with your like para gear, would you notice that the air is that much thinner in the way it catches you?
Yeah, you do for sure. It makes a big difference. You have to.
You need a lot of
You need a lot more airspeed to fly when the air is that thin. I don't have any experience at 5 miles up. Like highest I've been is 2.
Yeah, so, I don't know anything, but like all the footage that I've seen of people climbing it, and that movie, of course, which I'm sure tried to be true to nature, it looked like a real steep hike. Like in some places, it's really steep. Like oh, it's a good thing we have ropes, but I mean, it does not look like that Alex Humboldt shit where he was doing El Capitan. Oh my God. I don't even want to do.
We could do that.
I can't do the first 10 feet of that shit. It's like I would be so scared. 20 feet up, I'd be so scared. Like let's pretend like I trained it my whole life. I'm still so goddamn terrified of falling off that thing. I'd still be so scared looking down. I don't have the balls for that shit, or the I don't know. I have too much acrophobia for that.
They have.
Can you show that picture Vito linked?
They have a list here of everybody who died on Everest and like when they did. Way more Nepalese people than you would think. Like I thought it was going to be like mostly Americans and like French people or Russians or whatever, but yeah, a lot of these.
I just don't see how this is special anymore. It's like
nope.
Now it's just like waiting in line for like a Disneyland ride.
Yeah,
it was cool when you were like, "Hey, I'm one of the 5 guys who did this," and I was just
look
like,
at their gear. Do you think anybody out there is even cold? Do you think they're even chilly?
This really ruins the magic of it.
I think
There's a guy in the middle with a thermos full of hot cocoa for everyone.
Look at this. The sun's out.
If there's
Bunch
not
of
hot
liners.
cocoa, then I'm lying. I guarantee that guy. You see him, the guy carrying the big barrel of hot cocoa for everybody, right back there. So
how do you
these
get
people
back?
Are probably
I see
Carefully.
one lane
they
road.
just turn around and go back, right?
But
but does everyone have to get to the top first, and they all turn around?
if
up
you're
there?
at the top, how do you even turn around? Like, how?
So I am guessing, but I think we can definitely know that there isn't like a stop up there where everybody has to do a turnaround.
Yeah.
I bet they're going to like a flat area where everybody can spread back out, maybe, or something like that, like another camp. There's multiple camps on the way up the mountain where they're just stopping and chilling.
It tells you where everybody died in the list. It says like their nationality, their age, their name, and then where they died. And apparently, what is it? The Khumbu Icefall, Khumbu. Let me link this to Zach so we can show the photo. This is where a lot of people die. They fall into one of these
but my guess
crevices.
is it's going to look easy
A crevasse.
A crevasse, indeed.
It is pretty cool that they can't get the bodies off the mountain, so you just go up and you're like, that's that guy that died like 15 years ago.
Oh my God.
At least kind of roll them down a little every time. Like that way you kind of clean it up.
Everyone just pull everybody 6 feet.
Yeah.
A few years ago, the first, I think it might have been a woman, but there was a person who summited Everest that was a double amputee. I don't think they had legs. But they got a lot of flack because it turned out they had passed by someone who was incapacitated on the way up and left them. And I think that person died.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's always stories like that where it's like, they're like, yeah, but I was climbing the mountain. And you're like, what is the point of this for you fucking people?
Yeah,
I am 80% sure I can do that. I am more sure that I can do that than I am that I can attack a shark. And I'm pretty sure I can attack a shark.
I would definitely rather climb Everest than fight a shark.
You could attack a polar bear.
I had this idea for a YouTube video called the Shark Attack, and the idea was that sharks, that whole for millennia, sharks have attacked man. Time to turn the tables on nature's greatest predator tonight. And like the idea was we'd like chum the shark up, and he'd be out there all mean and angry, biting onto some fish heads or whatever, and I would jump on his ass from above, wearing like a shark-proof chainmail suit, and I would have.
So you're not even confident in your skills.
And each hand, I've got like an ice axe, and I'm going to hook into his back right away and dig my spurs in, which I finally get, and I'm going to like ride the shark down.
Dude, episode 1, you miss the shark, sink like a stone because you're wearing chainmail.
Kyle was lost in the
deep. That would be a good video.
In its first and final episode.
Imagine I'm like on his back like fucking Aquaman, except the shark hates it.
Shark would hate it. Shark would fuck your ass up.
I don't think so, because here's the thing. A shark has never been attacked in that manner from above. And if it has, I bet it ran. Because it's fucking, what the fuck? That monkey just jumped on my back. Never seen that one before. Why does he have Red Rebel ice picks? God, he must be great at Tarkov.
Checkmate.
Checkmate.
Damn, some of these people die at like camp 1, camp 2. That's really embarrassing.
Check their ages though. That's probably
what happened. Yeah, I drank
a lot of 40s, 50s, and 60s on this list. That's almost all of it. Like,
I'm not impressed if you climbed Mount Everest. If you told me you climbed some other impressive mountain that I'd heard of, like K2 or El Capitan, if you told me you did that, I would be wildly impressed. But that to me looks like rich guy hiking weekend. And if you don't plan the weather just right, you die. But they're not dying because they're like, the climb is so difficult, or like, your grip wasn't right. They're dying because they got led into a storm, it seems like, every single time.
17 people died last year on Everest.
Pussies. How many made it?
I don't know. Way more
like
than
4,000, man. It's like
thousands of people.
It's so stupid.
I bet the death rate on Everest is lower than the surrounding area.
Yeah.
You're actually more likely to live longer.
Can you be like normal bored?
Around like 800 survive a year.
Okay.
Just be like normal bored rich people and open a sex island and trap women there. Like, that's at least something's going on.
That's got to be wild to be on your Everest expedition and some guy falls into the Hillary Step or whatever, one of these portions, and then it's like, oof, onward and upward.
Sucks for that.
Let's keep going. This is kind of, man, my afternoon's ruined.
Man, when they say deep, they mean it, huh? You hear how long that guy was screaming on the way down?
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard you, man. We got it.
This is like when Gandalf was fighting the Balrog guy.
Dude, there's
world down there or some shit.
Should have rode the Eagles up here, huh?
Holy fuck.
Dude, it says whether or not their bodies were recovered. Like
they don't recover the bodies. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
They're like, we're not dragging the motherfucker
and
down.
Honestly, all right,
Matt, died in the hospital. He shouldn't be on the list.
I bet if you were so into Mount Everest that you go there and you did it until you died, your family's like, John always said, leave him up there. He wants to be part of the mountain. Like I think if my thing was climbing mountains and this was the 7th peak and I was going to be the master of the world or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, if I die up there, leave me up there. I want to be part of the mountain forever. That would be an honor.
Hear me out.
Dude,
I'm diagnosed with a fatal condition. I decide to climb Mount Everest. I get about 2/3 up. I sit down. I look at where all the people are coming, and I make a funny face. And then just stay that way.
Get out your AR-15 and you say, no one's coming up.
We must continue. We're approaching the nude man. You just be sitting there.
You're just completely naked and you're up there and you're permanently frozen like, hey! I'm like, oh, fuck.
But you've body painted something about Denny's because they paid you $2 million.
Right. I wear one of those outfits that little Nas guy was wearing.
We're approaching the chili Tyser's checkpoint.
That's the other thing.
Time for apps.
That's the other thing. Zach, can you find a picture of how trashy that base camp is and how trashy Everest is? Because even in that movie, there was like rappers everywhere and bullshit.
Oh yeah, they said there's like just a ton of trash on the mountain now because
garbage, just garbage.
Leave it everywhere.
Yeah,
dude,
so you're climbing a giant trash heap and you might die and your corpse is there forever as a warning to every other rich idiot.
They have the names of the companies that run the expeditions as one of the columns in this table. And so like you'll go down and then you'll see like 3 on the same date. And it's like April 12th, 2023. Imagine Nepal was the company. And all 3 of these people fell into the Sarak collapse. All Nepalese.
I definitely like this idea. Like companies should run it. Like, yeah, we're the 4th deadliest.
Yeah. Go ahead and look at Wikipedia.
In the movie, that's what they're talking about. In the movie, like his like partner or wife, or I think it's his, I don't know which, maybe both, is down at the base camp. And she's saying, I hope this isn't going to be another year where we don't get, anyone to the summit, because they're competing with one another. Like you want to be able to say, last year we had 50 people to try, we got 30 of them up, 4 deaths, only 4. So like you want they're going to shop you against the other guy, and they're like, we didn't lose anybody, and like you'd have to like take your others. There'd be price differences.
Can you imagine bargain hunting at Everest? And you're like, well, they only killed like 10 guys.
That's what that guy was doing, Doug. The guy in that movie, that's part of probably why he died, among others.
Dude, anyone out there, you got to be wary of Imagine Nepal and Pioneer Adventure.
That was the one, Pioneer Adventure. I think
there's a lot of
that rings a bell. Yeah, I watched the movie last night. It was tremendous. I enjoyed it a lot.
This is your guide, Uktuk the Tourist Slayer. Why do they call him that?
They call him Uktuk the Indifferent.
Uktuk the Indifferent.
The merciless.
I need to go back down. Hey.
Damn, whole bunch of people died in 2014, all on April 18th. But there's a Wikipedia.
Well, there was
page
an
it is called the 2014 Mount Everest.
Was it the avalanche? Yeah. There's videos of that.
All people from Nepal
buried.
Yeah.
I wouldn't guess so many people from Nepal are getting killed on Everest. I feel like they're just built for it.
I think when an avalanche hits, it doesn't really matter your nationality.
I mean, they're already there.
True. The snow just.
But there's a ton of them that are not.
You can imagine if it was like a local flavor. To us, Mount Everest is that thing on the other side of the planet. You got to pay all this money to do. To them, it's like Six Flags.
Ooh, there was a couple deaths in 2015 led by the first Chinese women Everest expedition.
They didn't make it.
Now, I don't see any more of them below the list. I assume that's because that organization folded.
Well, women are actually good mountain climbers. That's one of the things that they excel at. They're good at climbing. I think they do better with. That. I think they do
You're
better.
Trying to suggest women are good at something.
Yeah,
they're better than us.
They,
posh.
They use less oxygen. They require less oxygen, and their weight to upper body strength ratio. They're good at climbing. There's not a lot of like chin ups climbing Mount Everest. There's a lot of hiking though, and they're really good at that.
Yeah, but
in that movie I watched, it was a
Yeah.
Japanese woman. It was like she had climbed every mountain in the world. This was the last one, and sure enough, she makes it to the top, plants that fucking flag, and gets out. She ain't hanging around for them white people. Later on, when everybody's dying, everybody's dying on the mountain, and it's like, can you go back up? And the guy's like injecting himself with like literally with anti-inflammatories and trying to go back. No one asked that Japanese chick. She disappeared.
Yeah, like a ghost.
I see you later. What, man?
Base
You
camp.
go down mountain.
People are losing their noses, losing their toes, going back up, trying to be heroic and like bring Bob back down.
Man, there's a guy from Bolivia and
just like
Brazil.
She was gone.
They went all that way to die. That sucks. They spent money to die.
Come on, that's your dream. You get that though, right?
I get a dream. I don't get this as a dream, especially if there's a whole Wikipedia page about all the, because if someone invited me and was like, you want to go to Everest?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't want to. I'm going to end up on that list.
Really?
I'm going to die. Yeah.
I would take
I'll get chilly.
I think if I was offered a free trip,
You'd take a free trip to Everest?
I think if I was offered a free trip, I would devote myself to like getting physically up to that and do it, because it is a pretty short list of people.
I guess I don't want to do it. I would rather go somewhere prettier and more like a comfortable climate and hike around. Like I'd rather go to Yellowstone.
It's a one-day hike. It's about the achievement to me. Like
no,
I know we've been making fun
days.
of it, but it is the highest mountain in the world. Like if you gave me that for free, like I'm not gonna not do that.
I'm pretty sure. It's
Why not
multiple days.
get on one of these? What do you call it? SpaceX things. Go to space.
Oh,
one
I do
day.
that. I do that too.
Yeah, but isn't that better? It don't. Doesn't being at the top
That's
of
not
the
an
mountain
achievement, though.
not matter anymore when you can go to space?
Yeah, but you didn't do
Why is it
anything
not an
to achieve.
achievement because you didn't walk to space?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so if
What,
I
you
set
gonna
up
sit
a,
in
if
my
I set up
back
a walking
seat?
bridge to space, that's what you want.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
How about we get you into space and there's a treadmill up there and you can walk around and pretend?
That would be fun.
That'd be
That'd be better than
fun.
Everest.
I do any of those things. Yeah, I would definitely do that. I genuinely believe I wouldn't have any trouble doing it. Like it's not like the people who are doing that are 25-year-old professional athletes. It's dentists.
Yeah, I'd want to go to space if I had like a huge amount of control over what our elevation was in the craft, because I'd want to see what stuff looked
You
like.
get no control.
Yeah, Taylor,
I know I
this
don't get any control. I'm saying like this is 200 years in the future when everybody gets up there. It's fucking a day trip and they put you in a pod and you can kind of peek around. Like I'd want to go way up super
I'd want
high.
to go to space,
and then I want to go way
provided I
down.
had nothing to do with controlling the ship. That's critical. If
Hey,
they
Cap!
put me in charge,
I got this.
yeah. I when I had a baby, they asked me to cut the umbilical cord, and it's like me.
Nah.
Jesus Christ! This is a hospital. There's doctors all over.
Yeah.
And you want me?
It's going to be
You
just
pull out
like
your
that.
Gladius.
my Leatherman.
It's going to be just like that Titanic sub, man. They're going to hand you the Xbox controller and you got to pilot your way around.
Okay, I guess I would want it in more of like a go-kart, like a kid's go-kart place where I have a little bit of free
In
reign, but they
space.
can pull me back in just in case. Because I'd want to see how mountains and like the topography of the planet looked at wildly different elevations. Like, oh, I'm at this height now, and now I can like I can see that river. Oh, let me look at the little map. Oh, that's the Nile River. That's really cool. Let's go higher up. How high do I have to get until I can't see that at all?
Google Earth.
No, but like you'd be up there. You could look.
That's an airplane.
Yeah, but
just
no, you
run
can't
these
see anything
things on
fucking
an
cool
airplane.
from the airplane.
You want a personal hovercraft and you want to go up and down and see the elevation of rivers.
Not just rivers, all of it.
Oh,
I'd want to get high enough that I could see the lines in between the countries.
cool.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
That's what I
Yeah.
want to do.
I
Yeah.
think I'd want to float around in zero gravity. I'm not like, man, I got to see
I'm
what
just
that
saying
mountain
that
looks like at a
as
certain
it
height.
stands right now,
Yeah.
I don't feel like going to space you'd even get much out of it. Like it's so early in the beginning of it. Like there's no way
Well,
there's
did you
that much
see when
cool.
Shatner went to
Here-
space?
Here's
And it
what
was
I would
supposed to be
see.
like this big PR thing, like about
Yeah,
how
we
great
talked about
space
that.
is. And then he was just like, man, that was the most depressing fucking thing in my life.
Why,
Yeah,
why
because-
didn't you
yeah.
like it?
Space sucks.
He said
He's like,
that
because
he
you looked at
stared
Earth,
off-
like it's the loneliest. We're just on a rock in the middle of nothingness. Oh
He
my god!
Yeah.
Yeah.